Okay, 30 seconds. So Shabbat Shalom. So I don't know what was going on with the internet, but over the last 2 or 3 days, I've tried to record the video that I finally was able to post this afternoon of reading all the names that are on the Haaretz website with the pictures of all the hostages. Now there's another 100 hostages that that Haaretz doesn't have pictures for. I'm not quite sure why, but at least, so I was trying to just read that and share that. And so I was doing it in the TikTok app, and every time I tried to hit OK, I accidentally hit back, and then it deleted the video, and it takes 10 minutes to say all the names. And I did this 4 times, and then Rebecca finally said to me, just as I was saying, oh wait, I should just record a video in the video app and then upload it, because then I can't, and then if I accidentally delete it, then it's still in the Photos app. That worked. But I know, that should be the worst thing to happen, is that you're trying to do something nice and it doesn't work. But I can't tell you how frustrated it made me. But at the same time, I think it also made me, if I wasn't already cognizant of, these hostages, making the video 5 times. But I look at these pictures of these kids, and there's several families where the entire family was kidnapped. And then there's this one little girl, 3 years old, that both her parents were murdered, and then they kidnapped the 3-year-old. And what do we do these days? We watch videos from around Israel, and I saw one that was, I was saying okay, so you're fighting for freedom, supposedly. That's the way you're fighting?
You should watch, there's a video, here's Morgan, who's interviewing a reporter.
Yeah.
His name is Murray. And there's this, here's Morgan, who's well, Israel, the guy's what they did to people, and civilians spitting on the bodies that they're dragging them. He said the Nazis at least had shame about what they did at some level. These people did it with relief.
Well, but it's
Over and over and over. There's no way to say that it didn't happen.
Well, the whole thing of passing out candy to celebrate every time people are killed, I don't want to use that language, but it's very hard not to. Because I don't want to dehumanize anybody, but I don't understand how a human being can do that. So the hard thing is, what do? We have those struggles and the pain and the frustration, and then our tradition teaches us that Shabbat, that when we are in Shiva, that Shabbat is a pause from Shiva. That even if we were sitting at home, we come to shul and we participate and be with other people. And it's been interesting. I've been getting calls from people. I spoke to somebody this afternoon. I haven't been to synagogue in 20 years. Is it okay if I come to shul? Yes, it's okay. Come to shul. So what we need is to be around and support one another, and God willing, see a world where a great peace will embrace the whole world, and nation will not lift up sword against nation. But we haven't quite gotten there yet, so until then, there's a lot of work to be done. But let's begin on page 14 with songs of compassion and calling out to God.
Yeri nefesh
Arachaman, Yeri nefesh Arachaman, Meshakav Jah, Etzonah, Meshakav Jah, So at the bottom of 14, dear God, help us now to make this a new Shabbat. After noise, we seek quiet. After crowds of indifferent strangers, we seek to touch those we love. After concentration on work and responsibility, we seek freedom to meditate, to listen to our inward selves. We open our eyes to the hidden beauties and the infinite possibilities in the world you are creating. We break open the gates of the reservoirs of goodness and kindness in ourselves and in others. We reach toward one holy, perfect moment of Shabbat. Page 15, Lechu Neranena.
Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Nekadma Fana Vetoda. Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Bizmirot Naria Lo. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Nekadma Fana Vetoda. Naria, Naria, Letzor Yishenu, Bizmirot Naria Lo. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai.
Ki hagadol HaMelech Adonai Kol Elohim Asher B'Rachot Haaretz Azot Arim Lo.
Arbaim Shana Akut Bedor Ba'omar Am Toel Elohim Vehem Lo Yadu Derachai Asher Nishpati Me'api Im Yivon Menuchati.
Page 16, we'll sing together.
Shiru l'Adonai shir chadash, Shiru l'Adonai kol haaretz, Shiru l'Adonai baruch shemo, Baser miyom leyom Yeshuato, Sabru v'goyi kevodo, Mechol ha'amim niflotav, Ki gadol Adonai, Omula me'or, Norahu, Al kol Elohim, Ki kol Elohei ha'amim elilim, V'Adonai shamayim asa, V'hadar lepanav v'tifer למקדשו, הבו לאדוני משפחות עמי, הבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, הבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, שאו מנחה ובואו לפטרותיו, שתממו לאדוני בהדרות קודש, אילו מפניו כל הארץ. אמרו בגויים אדוני מלך, אף תיקום תהל אל תימות. ידין עמים במישרים, ישמחו השמיים ותגל הארץ. ירום הים צדק ועמים באמונתו kato, ya la ya la ya la 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 ya la
Page 17. Adonai is sovereign, let the world rejoice. God's throne is founded on justice. Though God is clouded from view, divine justice reveals God's presence. God's lightning illumines the earth, fire consumes God's foes. Mountains melt like wax before Adonai, the earth trembles.
The
Heavens proclaim God's righteousness. All people behold God's majesty. Shame covers those who worship idols, those who take pride in revering images, which must themselves bow low before God.
Hearing of your judgments, Adonai, Zion exalts, and the cities of Judah rejoice.
You are supreme over all the earth, highly exalted beyond all that is worshipped.
Those who love Adonai hate evil. God protects the faithful and saves them from the wicked.
Light is stored for the righteous, joy for the honorable.
Rejoice in Adonai, you who are righteous. Acclaim the holiness of God's name.
Now, every single week, we read this, whether in Hebrew or in English, and every week I'm struck by the line, Ohavei Adonai Sinu Ra, that those who love God hate evil. And what's interesting, though, or what is helpful to me, is it doesn't say God hates evildoers. It says God hates evil. Now, oftentimes those two are connected. Usually evil is often done by evildoers, but our Torah and our tradition still tells us that there's the potential for the evildoer to do tshuva, to make a change in their life and to do better. And there's the story of Rebbe Meir and his wife Bruria. And there were some nudniks who were following Rebbe Meir around in the market and throwing things at him. And Rebbe Meir is this very esteemed teacher, very powerful prayer, and he starts to pray that they should be struck down. And his wife, Bruria, the very wise woman, especially wise because we don't get the names of many people's wives, so especially special. And she says, don't pray for the destruction of evildoers, pray for the destruction of evil, and he does. And those people who had caused him all this trouble actually become his disciples, that they make a complete turnaround. So I pray with all the evil that we see in this world, we see a complete turnaround, and that those who try to bring hatred and violence will no longer be able to, one way or another. Page 18.
Mizmor shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, ki nivot asa, Hoshia lo yamino, uthra kadsha, Hariya Adonai Yeshuato, le'enei hagoyim gilat tzidkato, Zachar hasto emunato, Israel, Ra'u kol afsei haaretz, et Yeshuat Eloheinu, Haviu l'Adonai kol haaretz, Yitzvu v'radenu v'zameru, Zameru l'Adonai v'chinor, v'kol zimra, b'chatzot tzrov v'kol shofar, Hariu b'nei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayam u'meloho, Tevel v'yoshveiva, Na'arot yimcha uchav, Yachar harim yeraneinu, Lifnei Adonai kiva, Lishbot haaretz, Yishbot tevel v'tzedek, ve'amim ve'mesharim, Yalla, yalla, la, 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 yalla, yalla, la, 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 yalla, la, 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 yalla, la, la, yalla, la, 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 la,
currently on page 19 of Malach Yagu. Hamim Yeshekavim Tanataret Sanai B'Sion B'Antonim.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'arkacho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'arkacho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu le'arkacho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romemu.
We rise, page 20, for Mizmor LeDavid.
Mizmor
David, Havul Adonai V'Nedim, Havul Adonai, Kavod Va'oz, Havul Adonai,
Kevod Shemo Yishtachamu L'Adonai, V'Amram Koresh,
Kol Adonai,
Hamayim, El HaKavod Irim, Adonai, Amay Rabim, Kol Adonai, Ba'koach, Kol Adonai Me'arer, Kol Adonai Shover Arazim, Vayishamer Adonai Erazei Havanon, Vayarkinem Kemo Egel, Levado Be'Sion, Kemo Be'Reimim, Kol Adonai Chotzel Lavotesh, Kol Adonai Yachim Midbar, Yachil Adonai Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai Cholel Ayalot, Vayechesov Yeharot, Kul Hechalo, Kul Omer Kavod, Adonai, Lama Mu Yashar Yishev, Adonai Melech Leolam, Adonai Oz, Le'amo Yiten Adonai, Yivarech et Amo V'Shalom,
Maybe seated. Let's look at the first line of Ana B'Koach. Ana B'Koach, B'Koach, Getulat Yemincha, Yemincha, Tate Tzerura Kaberina Tamecha, Sagevina Tareinu Nura. Hanna B'Koach, B'Koach, Getulat Yemincha, Yemincha, Tate Tzerura Kaberina Tamecha, Sagevinu Tareinu Nura. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la. May God release all captives, captives of soul and captives of body. Page 21 and 22, we find Lecha Dodi. We welcome Shabbat as our bride with the same enthusiasm and excitement and joy, even in the times where we have to push a little bit, with the enthusiasm of welcoming Shabbat as if we are at a wedding or simcha like that. Page 21. Bnei Shabbat nekabela lecha dodi likrat kala. Bnei Shabbat nekabela amar v'zachor b'dibur echad ishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad ושמו אחד, ושם ותפארת ולעתינה, לך דודי לקראת חלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת חלה, בני שבת נקבלה, לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי אם בכל הברכה מהראש מקדם נסוכה סוף מעשה במחשבה תהילה לך דודי we turn the page לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי היד איש בן פסי בן נשמחה בן נקילה. We rise and face the entrance. לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה בואי בשלום עטרת כלה גם בשמחה ובצוחלה תוך אמוני עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת כלה בני שבת נקבלה. You may be seated. So I said, when I was a child, my father used to take me to Friday night services, not infrequently, and the rabbi was excited there was a kid there. So he'd say, hey, you want to do a reading? And so I read the song for Shabbat many, many times as a little kid, and I want to read it in English today because I want to be a little kid for a moment. A song for Shabbat. It is good to acclaim Adonai, to sing your praise, exalted God.
To affirm your love each morning and your
faithfulness each night, to the music of the lute and the melody of the harp. Your works, Adonai, make me glad. I sing with joy of your creation. How vast your works, Adonai. Your designs are beyond our grasp. The thoughtless cannot comprehend, the foolish cannot fathom this. The wicked may flourish, springing up like grass. Their doom is sealed, for you are supreme forever. Your enemies, Adonai, your enemies shall perish. All the wicked shall crumble. But me you have greatly exalted. I am anointed as with fragrant oil. I have seen the downfall of my foes. I have heard the despair of my attackers. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. They shall grow tall like a cedar in Lebanon. Planted in the house of Adonai, they will thrive in the courts of our God. They shall bear fruit even in old age. They shall be ever fresh and fragrant. To proclaim Adonai is just, my rock in whom there is no flaw. So we'll continue on page 24 with the last of the Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat. Adonai malach keut lavesh, lavesh Adonai ositazah.
מאז מעולם אתה נשאו נהרות אדוני נשאו נהרות כולם יישאו נהרות תוך ים מקולות מים רבים אדירים מספריהם אדיר במרום אדוני עדותיך נעלו מאוד לביתך נבוא קודש אדוני לאורך ימים.
Mourner's Kaddish, those in the time of mourning or observing a yard site, page 24. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei Rabam. Be'alma divrach rutzei v'yamlech machutei. V'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei techol beit Yisrael. B'galav v'zman kariv v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabam v'orach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudsha b'richu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, v'yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. So a couple little anecdotes. This afternoon, I went over to Toby Weinman and I played guitar for them before their Shabbat dinner. And I played a little bit of, not so contemporary music. A little Paul Simon, a little, what else? I played a couple other songs of that era. And then I played various Jewish songs in one of the psalms that we sang this evening, and it was the sweetest thing because after every song, as I'm flipping through the book to get the next thing, I got like a little round of applause, and it was so nice to be appreciated. I'm not saying you don't appreciate me, but I'm saying like when if I take out the guitar at home, my children run in the other direction and go find an iPad and go on another floor so they don't have to hear me. And it was so nice to be, I was doing a nice thing. I'm helping them have a little musical, pre-Shabbat, and then they were appreciative. But that's not why I told the story. Why I told the story is, one of the women was wearing the little blue ribbon for Israel. And she says, Rabbi, do you think I should wear this out? She said, I don't actually go anywhere, but if I were going anywhere, do you think there's a problem with wearing the blue ribbon for Israel? And I said, we had one of the songs we sang was from Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, Kol ha'olam kulo, the whole world, Gesher Tzar Me'od, is a very narrow bridge. V'ha'ikar, and the important thing, lo lefached klal, the important thing is not to be afraid. And in this moment, I think that's really important for us not to be afraid. And what's particularly powerful is there's a variant of that text from Rabbi Nachman of Bratslav, which is lo lachit pached, not to cause yourself to be afraid. And I think as Jews, we are very good at causing ourselves to be afraid. And the challenge is how to resist that impulse, and how to keep wearing a kippah, and how to keep wearing a Jewish star, and how to keep being proud of who we are, so that we don't let someone else cause us to be afraid. That let us choose if I want to be afraid or not. I'm not going to let someone else make me feel afraid. It's easy to say that, it's harder to do it. So I want to share another little anecdote I heard today from a rabbi on Long Island, I don't remember which one, who said one of his congregants was taking the Long Island Railroad and was wearing a kippah and sat down, and this guy sat down next to him wearing a kippah also. Seems okay to start, but the guy just something seemed a little bit funny, and you're wondering where the story's going. And, the kippah didn't sit right, so he finally, talks to his neighbor, which you don't necessarily do on the Long Island Railroad, unless you've been riding the train with them for the last 40 years. And he talks to the guy, and the guy is a Russian Jew. He said, I have never put on a kippah before. So the guy said, well, so why are you putting on a kippah now? He said, because they're trying to make me afraid, and they're not going to make me afraid. So I'm going to put this on to show that I am proud of who I am, and I will stand up for what is right. So I want to share one more tangent, and then we'll go back to the davening, which is from the Lecha Dodi that we just sang together. And the second verse was Likrat Shabbat Lechuvan Alcha, that we should go and meet Shabbat. As I said, remember, we're at this joyous, we're at a wedding, we're at a simcha, we're at a celebration. Kihi Mekor Habracha. Shabbat is the root of blessing. Merosh Mikadem Nesucha, from the very, the primordial start of the universe was Shabbat created. Sof Ma'asab, at the end of what we do, Memakshavat we need to consider from the beginning. And so if we think all the way back to creation and that Shabbat was part of the creation, then we need to make Shabbat the root of ourselves. And for me, as a rabbi, I think Shabbat's pretty important, right? And again, I'm talking to people that came here on a Friday night, right? But tell a friend that Shabbat can be the difference between feeling a soul and meaningful and inspired life and one that is less so. Because when we set ourselves into the rhythm, and we know that no matter what else in the world is going on, that we are going to have Shabbat, then even when we are frustrated, even when we are angry, even if we are afraid, even if we are all over the place, if we can come on Shabbat and be with people that we care about, whether it's having Shabbat dinner, whether it's coming to shul, whether it's making kiddush and hamotzi, whether it's all of the things, if we make Shabbat special, and we make Shabbat in our lives, well, then there's the other part of Lecha Dodi, because it says, Yamin usmol tifrotzi, that to the right and to the left it will spread out. Then if we make Shabbat, we push Shabbat into the rest of the week, and we bring the energy of the joy and the gladness, the uplift and the hope of possibility. And this world needs a lot of hope and a lot of uplift and a lot of possibility. So what it actually needs more than anything else is Shabbat. We rise together, page 28, for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMelech.
Baruch mevorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMelech le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bara v'aravim. Adonai tzvaot, you create day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness away from light. Eternal God, your sovereignty shall forever embrace us. Baruch atah Adonai, Am'ariv Aravim. Page 29.
Avat olam et Yisrael amcha. Torah u'mitzvot u'kim u'mishpatim otanu limadta. Aken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachreinu u'kumeinu nasiach lefukecha v'nishmach b'divrei Toratecha u'b'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki
Shemo.
Ohem Amo Yisrael. Shema
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem.
Ve'ahavta
Et Adonai Elohecha bechol levacha kol nafshecha ubechol me'atecha Hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ומלאכתך בדרך ושכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיה והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. בני ישראל.
Adonai Elohechem Emet.
Emet v'nakot, page 32. Ki Adonai Eloheinu v'natenu v'nachnu Yisrael amo v'neinu v'makim.
ומלכותו מרצון קיבלו עליהם. משה בני ישראל הכנו שירה בשמחה רבה, ואמרו כולם, מי כמוך אלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, לא רע תהילות אוסף אלה, מלכותך רבניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זני ענו ואמרו,
Adonai ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר כי פרע אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני גא ישראל.
On the left side of the 33, we'll read responsibly under the line, protect us with your gift of peace by helping us to overcome temptation. Sustain us when we despair, open our hearts to joy. Shelter us in your embrace of peace when we're caught by conflict or desire. When we are torn, heal us. When we are tormented, touch us.
with tranquility.
Cherish our fragmented lives. Make our lives whole again through integrity.
When we deceive, turn us to you. When we corrupt, capture our hearts anew.
Protect us from ourselves. When we falter, help us to conquer the enemy within.
When we blunder, restore us. With compassion, teach us that peace is based on your truth.
So on page 34, we rise for Vishamru and the Chatzi Kadesh, and then we take time for our Shabbat Amidah from pages 35 to 40, giving thanks for the gift of this Shabbat.
Meshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat
Lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam. Meshamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
Meini umein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam.
Shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam.
ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני,
את השמיים ואת הארץ, שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת תורתם ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי
שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת תורתם ברית עולם.
יתקדש ויתקדש שמרבה,
אמן.
יאמר אמרה כרותי וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חנור ימי חיי תכל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ואמרו
אמן.
יהי שמירה מבורך לעולם ולעולמי
יתברך.
יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי קודשם לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושלכתה ונחמתה תמירן ביומה ואמרו
אמן. אדוני צבאות יפתח ויגיד ויבטח. When you've finished your personal prayer, remain standing for Vaychulu, page 47.
ויכולו השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויכל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלאי אבותינו אלוהי אברהם, אלוהי יצחק, אלוהי יעקב, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל, אלוהי לאה, האל הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, עליון, קונה שמיים הארץ, מגן אבות מתים במאמרו, האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו, המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו, כי בם רצה להניח להם, כי בם רצה להניח להם, לפניו נעבוד ביראה ופחד, ונודה לשמו בכל יום תמיד, מעון הברכות אל ההודעות אדון השלום, מקדש השבת ומברך שביעי ומניח בקדושה לעמנו שני עונג זכר למעשה בראשית.
We'll read together at the top of 48. Our God and God of our ancestors, find favor in our Shabbat rest, instill in us the holiness of your mitzvot, and let your Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness and gladden us with your triumph. Cleanse our hearts so we might serve you faithfully, lovingly, and willingly. Adonai our God, grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat. The people of Israel who hallow your name will always find rest on this day. Praised are you, Adonai, who hallows Shabbat.
יקרא ויקרא שמי רבה.
אמן.
ואמרתי רק יראה ואמליך ואחותי בחיי כל ומכל וגאי יום ישראל. בגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה.
Yiparach.
יפרח משמע וירצה וינשא מדבר ויתעלה ויתעלל. שמי קודשם בריחו. לעילה מכל מגותם שירתה. תפילתה ונגמרתה. דמי רמי עלמה. ואמרו אמן. תתקבל צהר ועבדך ישראל. כל עמוד וישמעיה. ואמרו אמן. יהי שלום הרבה משמעיה. וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל. ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, יעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל. ואמרו אמן.
The Kiddush to welcome Shabbat, page 49.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai ונשנו מצוותיו ורצונו, ושבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה בראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
Amen. When we turn to page 51, we'll find the Aleinu.
עלינו לשמר אדון הכל, לתת גדולה יוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו בגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשמרות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונה. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
So we are thinking this week of Reva Miller, Milton Lewis, Mary K. Shulman, Israel Drucker, Morris Tischler, Malcolm Salet, Ezra Melamed, Harold Rifkin, Edna Glassman, Rita Osborne, Philip Warren, David Nathanson, Lenore Pearl, Harry Sobel, Marvin Bernard Dantowitz, Max Koenig, Annette Bressinger, Morton Lasher, Catherine Gertrude Diamond, Max Polsky, Pauline Gordon Morris Lev, Victor Greenberg, Frida Slizerman Kudlitz, Jenny Deskov, Albert Ezrick, Fred Frogel, Pearl Heller, Eli Crippen, Kevin Michael Kay, Tilly Dolman Kaplan, Chana Olmsted, Simon Shapiro, Jerome Silverman, Anna Grubstein, Goldie Melnick, Miriam Shalamovitz, Dorothy Goffman, and Samuel Morris Jess. May their memories be a blessing. Kaddish is found on page 52. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei Rabbah, v'yalma divrach yiritei v'yamlech malchutei, v'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei techol beit Yisrael, v'agalav v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam olamei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitshomam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar, v'yitalev, v'yitalal, shmeid kudsha, brechu. La'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, dameran bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yishlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. V'oseh shalom b'imromav, v'yaseh shalom. V'yakol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. So this week, tomorrow morning, we will honor our veterans. And we have a special guest speaker from the Bay Pines VA, the Chief of Chaplains, Joseph Stevens. I don't know the last time a Baptist minister's been on the pulpit here, but see how that goes. And then this coming week, we have, you have many opportunities to eat or drink with me. On Wednesday morning, you can join me for coffee. On Thursday evening, you can join me for a beer. And on Friday, at lunch, you can join me at Joel's, and we'll have a little nash and study a little Talmud. So different opportunities depending on what you're interested in, but lots of opportunities to have a little bit of learning and a little bit of nash. We'll conclude this evening with Yigdal, page 53.
יגדל אלוהים חי וישתבח, נמצא ואין אצל מציאותו, אחד בן יחיד כייחודו, נעלם וגם אין סוף לאחדותו. אין לו דמות הגוף ואין הגוף, לא נערוך אליו קדושתו, קדמון לכל דבר אשר נברא. ראשון וראשית ראשיתו, הינו אדון עולם וכל נוצר, יורה גדולתו מלכותו, שפע נבואתו נתנו, סגולתו ותפארתו, לא קם בישראל כמו שאון נביא, ומביט את אמונתו, תורת אמת נתן לעם האוהל, היה נביאו נאמן ביתו, לא יחל יפעל ולא ימיר דתו, לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ביודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומר לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נוטה לרשע רע כרישתו, ישלח לגשמים בשכחנו, לפתור כקץ ששועתו, מתים יחייל מרוב חסדו, ברוך ה' שם תהילתו, מתים יחייל מרוב חסדו, ברוך ה' שם תהילתו. So I want to acknowledge that it is the veteran, not the preacher or rabbi, who has given us freedom of religion. It is the veteran, not the lawyer, who has given us the right to a fair trial. It is the veteran, not the reporter, who has given us freedom of the press. It is the veteran, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. It is the veteran, not the poet, who has given us the freedom of speech. And it is the veteran who salutes the flag, who serves under the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag. Thanks to all who served.